music because there's many good people playing in that record, but the style of the alto is so different from anything else that's on the record that went before. Did you realize at that time what effect you were going to have on jazz? You were going to change the entire scene in the next 10 years?
Well, let's put it like this. No, I had no idea that it was that much different.
Well,
I'd like to stick in a question, if I may. I'd like to know why there was this violent change, really. After all, up until this time, the way to play the alto sax was the way that Johnny Hodges and Benny Carter played. A particular horn, but music in general.
yeah, how to play any horn.
I don't think there's any answer to.
This is the way you
speaking, John. Yeah, that's what I said when I first started talking. That's my first conception, man. That's the way I thought it should go. And I still do. I mean, of course, it's that much improvement. Most likely in another 25, maybe 50 years, some youngster will come along and take the style and really do something with it, you know? But, I mean, ever since I've ever heard music, I thought it should be very clean, very precise, as clean as possible anyway, you know? And more or less to the people.
It's one of the most impressive things about everything I've ever heard of yours.
And that's more or less the object. That's what I thought it should be.
Another thing that's been a major factor in your playing is this fantastic technique that nobody's quite equal to. I always wondered about that too, whether that came behind practicing or whether that was just from playing.
And more or less to the people, you know, something they could understand, something that was beautiful, you know? There's definitely there's stories and stories and stories that can be told in the musical medium, you know?
know, I'm very glad that he's bringing out this point because I think a lot of young musicians tend to think that
Yeah, they do. They just
it
go
isn't
out,
necessary to do this.
go out and make those sessions and live the life, but they don't put in that 11 hours a day with any of the books.
Oh, definitely. Study is absolutely necessary in all forms. It's just like any talent that's born within somebody. It's just like a good pair of shoes when you put a shine on it, you know? Like schooling brings out the polish, you know, of any talent that happens anywhere in the world. Einstein had schooling, but he has a definite genius, you know, within himself. Schooling is one of the most wonderful things there has ever been, you know?
I'm glad to hear you say this.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah.
Well,
What another record?
yeah. Which one should we take this time?
You want to skip a little while? Johnny picked out Night and Day.
Okay.
That's one of his records. Is this with a band or with strings?